And in today's episode, among other things, you'll see I missed saying this, huh? Neuralink deploys an AI system to use its robot and insert its chip without even fully opening a human brain. Floating data centers that use the power of ocean waves to power AI systems. A 140-ton robot truck that swaps its entire battery in just 4 minutes. Robot dogs prepared to work as firefighters and face fires in place of us humans. Entire parks being built to teach humanoid robots to live like people. Let's break all this down and a few more things happening in tech. Hello, impressed men and women. I'm Carlos Salves, and you're watching Amazing Reality. In a surgical breakthrough that has just redefined the boundaries of neurosurgery and medical robotics, Neuralink has successfully performed its first human transdural procedure. At Toronto Western Hospital, a robot-led operation eliminated the need to remove the protective membrane of the human brain to implant their famous chips. Less than an hour after the surgery ended, the patient was already controlling computers using his mind. Traditionally, the implantation of a brain-computer interface requires a directomy, a manual and highly invasive process where human surgeons cut the dura mater, the biological armor of the cortex, in order to have direct visualization of the brain. By skipping this critical step and inserting the filaments directly through the intact membrane, Neuralink applies the philosophy of industrial production to medicine, eliminating unnecessary steps to make the procedure faster, repeatable, and infinitely safer. In other words, to implant it in as many people as possible. The biggest challenge was purely mechanical. The dura mater is significantly tougher than the extremely thin filaments implanted by Neuralink. To get through it without bending the needle or causing damage to the brain tissue, the engineers completely redesigned the insertion system. The robot received a new needle geometry that is capable of withstanding greater forces, while hundreds of tests were carried out on synthetic membranes developed to very accurately reproduce the mechanical resistance of the human dura. The entire insertion process is now controlled by artificial intelligence algorithms that continuously adjust the force, speed, and depth to minimize any friction during the puncture. But piercing the membrane only solved part of the problem. The brain still remained hidden. The robot needed to identify the blood vessels that are invisible to it before starting each insertion. For that, the system uses, hold on, let me get ready, fluorescence angiography with indocyanin green. Yeah, in simple terms, it's the contrast applied to the patient's circulation that becomes visible when illuminated by infrared light. The robot's cameras capture this glow through the dura mater itself, producing an extremely precise vascular map. With this information, artificial intelligence automatically calculates trajectories capable of avoiding important vessels, significantly reducing the risk of strangulation. The brain, however, never remains completely still. Every heartbeat and every breath cause small shifts, movements of the brain's surface. To compensate for this continuous movement, Neuralink incorporated optical coherence tomography, known as OCT, into the robot. Using beams of infrared light, the equipment produces three-dimensional images at microscopic resolution and tracks each pulse of the brain in real time. In this way, the robotic arm synchronizes the insertion of the filaments at the safest possible moment, automatically correcting shifts that are practically imperceptible to the human eye. This advancement represents much more than a technical improvement, as it combines computer vision, high-resolution optical imaging, artificial intelligence, and precision robotics. Neuralink demonstrates how neurosurgery is moving towards increasingly less invasive and highly automated procedures. It could be done on a large scale very soon, you see? It will still be necessary to monitor the clinical results and the progress of the studies to confirm the large-scale effects, but the direction is very clear, you see? The future of brain-computer interfaces will depend less and less on the hands of a human surgeon, and more on the precision of artificial intelligence systems that are built into robots capable of seeing, calculating, and operating on a scale that's impossible for our species. I know this is a pretty controversial topic, okay? But tell me, if technology could enhance your reasoning and memory capacity, would you let an AI-powered robot drill into your brain to put a chip in there? Tell me in the comments. Remember that when you comment, it really helps the channel to grow and keep bringing content like this, okay? Help me out. Now imagine an autonomous, floating, self-sufficient supercomputer that uses the kinetic force of the ocean's own waves to generate electricity and process trillions of artificial intelligence data 24 hours a day. That's exactly what they're already putting into operation. The energy consumption of new supercomputers is growing at such a fast pace that several regions are already facing energy supply limitations, water shortages for cooling, and difficulties in licensing new data centers. Given this scenario, a North American startup decided to take these servers to an unlikely place: the ocean. Modern data centers face issues that extend well beyond electricity. Each facility houses thousands of processors working continuously, producing enormous amounts of heat. In many cases, millions of liters of water are used daily to keep this equipment cool. In addition, the construction of new facilities faces environmental restrictions, power grid limitations, and growing resistance from the local community. And as a solution, platforms have emerged that use mechanical systems capable of converting the continuous movement of waves into electricity, greatly reducing dependence on conventional grids. Built in shipyards using naval engineering techniques, these structures were designed to operate for long periods in deep waters, withstanding the harsh conditions of the ocean environment while powering high-density artificial intelligence servers. Another important difference in all of this is the cooling system. Instead of relying on large industrial systems that consume drinking water, the ocean itself acts as a gigantic natural heat sink. The heat generated by the processors is transferred to heat exchange systems specially designed to work with seawater, significantly reducing resource consumption and increasing the energy efficiency of the operation. The energy produced by the waves is used directly by the onboard equipment, while communication with the rest of the world takes place through low Earth orbit satellite links, allowing commands to be sent and results to return almost in real time. The company intends to start commercial operations in the coming years, using these platforms to process artificial intelligence workloads without increasing the pressure on the electrical infrastructure of large cities. If the model really proves to be economically viable, entire fleets of oceanic data centers could operate in a distributed manner, bringing computing closer to regions where today it might be nearly impossible to install these large processing centers. Electrification has historically always been associated with compact cars, some urban buses, and passenger vehicles. Few believe that this technology could take on one of the most extreme environments in the industry: heavy-duty mining. After all, transporting hundreds of tons 24 hours a day requires constant power, high availability, and virtually no operational downtime. But Chinese engineering has just proven that even this sector can indeed abandon diesel. The mining company Zijun and the manufacturer Longqing have developed a platform completely different from traditional electric vehicles. Instead of staying connected to fast chargers, these trucks use an automated battery swapping system, allowing them to return to operation immediately. The heart of this system, called LK220E, is a gigantic battery pack with a capacity of approximately 770 kilowatt-hours, kWh. As mentioned, instead of recharging directly in the vehicle, robots come and automatically replace the depleted module with another one that is fully charged. And this happens in just about 4 minutes. This strategy virtually eliminates all waiting time and allows the removed battery to be slowly recharged at dedicated stations, increasing its lifespan and reducing thermal stress on the cells. In addition, the electrical architecture simplifies the truck's mechanical assembly, eliminating complex transmissions, reducing the number of components subject to wear, and significantly decreasing the need for maintenance. The economic gains are impressive, which is what matters most to them, right? The operational cost per ton transported drops drastically when compared to diesel-powered trucks, especially in operations that use locally produced electricity. Electric motors have fewer moving parts, show a lower rate of mechanical failures, and offer much more precise control during acceleration and braking, increasing efficiency and reducing operational risks in extremely demanding environments. This technology is no longer an experimental project. The Ulajena mine, Ulajena, in the Chinese region of Xinjiang, has started operating one of the largest fleets of electric mining trucks on our planet. Meanwhile, Xinjiang Mining is continuously expanding its electrification strategy, using energy from solar and wind farms installed in the region itself. In this way, a large part of the mineral transport chain starts operating practically without relying on fossil fuels. Fighting fires in a refinery, a chemical plant, or a warehouse filled with smoke has always been a mission where every second can mean the difference between life and death. Extreme temperatures, structures on the verge of collapsing, and toxic gases turn these environments into places that are practically inaccessible for human teams. Now, robotics is starting to take on precisely those far more dangerous missions. The Chinese company Deep Robotics has developed a quadruped platform that can be operated remotely or carry out partially autonomous missions, allowing human teams to stay in safe areas while the robot moves directly toward the source of the fire. What sets the system apart is the way it fights the flames. Instead of releasing a continuous stream of water, the robot uses carefully aimed high-pressure bursts. This pulse suppression technology concentrates more energy in each shot, thus improving penetration into the source of the fire and significantly reducing the consumption of water or foam. At the same time, its X30 chassis was designed to handle sloped stairs, slippery metal floors, gravel, sand, and also obstacles up to 20 centimeters high. It does all this while keeping balance using algorithms that constantly adjust its four legs. To navigate in environments where almost nothing can be seen, the robot combines different perception technologies. The SLiDAR sensor works together with sets of depth cameras and infrared thermal imaging, thus producing a three-dimensional map of the environment even under heavy smoke. Meanwhile, the integrated cooling system continuously sprays the chassis itself, thus creating a thermal protection layer that helps keep the temperature of the electronic components within safe limits during longer operations. When necessary, the battery module can be quickly replaced without tools, allowing the mission to continue with minimal interruption. The design by Deep Robotics shows that the next generation of robotics will not be defined solely by industrial automation. It will also be responsible for taking on the most dangerous missions in our society, putting machines where only we, humans, used to risk our own lives, and turning technology into a powerful ally for public safety. Now imagine an entire park built not to entertain people, but to teach humanoid robots how to live in our real world. Instead of roller coasters and rides, there are industrial corridors, stairs, doors, shelves, and hundreds of everyday tasks repeated thousands of times, so that humanoid robots can continuously learn from every movement. This is Robot Park, opened by Tronic in Austin, Texas, one of the largest facilities ever created to accelerate the physical training of AI systems. In partnership with Google DeepMind, this large complex aims to solve what is considered today one of the greatest challenges of modern robotics: teaching machines to act naturally in environments made for us, human beings. If you don't live in Narnia, you probably know that it's a fact that artificial intelligence models have revolutionized the generation of texts, images, and code. That's because they learned by analyzing huge volumes of data available on the internet. But robots don't live on language alone. To manipulate objects, open doors, stack boxes, or walk on uneven terrain, it needs to gain physical experience. And it's precisely this gap that Robot Park aims to fill. Every step, every mistake, and every correction made by the robot are recorded, analyzed, and turned into new training data, creating a continuous learning cycle that constantly improves its motor skills. At the center of this project is Apollo, a humanoid platform developed to operate in different industrial scenarios. Its modular architecture allows the robot to be adapted for specific tasks. Some versions use a mobile-wheeled base for logistics operations that require stability and fast movement. Others maintain the full biped configuration, allowing it to climb stairs, pass through narrow corridors, avoid obstacles, and operate equipment originally designed for us humans. All this mobility is combined with robotic hands capable of handling various tools and objects, while advanced computer vision systems interpret the environment in real time to plan each movement with great precision. What really sets Robot Park apart, however, is the integration between hardware and artificial intelligence. The partnership between Aptronic and DeepMartin allows all the experience gained by the robots to be used to improve the Gemini robotics models, developed especially to control physical machines. Apollo is also designed to work side by side with human operators. Displays installed on its torso, along with speech and the ability to understand commands, make interaction much more intuitive during shared activities. This training has already moved beyond the labs, Companies like Mercedes-Benz and Gexo Logistics have started using these robots in real operational environments, providing much more varied challenges than any simulation could offer for the robots. And the next step of this evolution is already being prepared. More efficient actuators, batteries that can be replaced in just a few seconds, and increasingly autonomous systems are expected to equip future generations of the Apollo platform. The goal is to extend continuous operating time and to reduce the need for human supervision, thus allowing large fleets of humanoid robots to work in factories, logistics centers, and various other sectors of the economy. They'll be in our homes soon, I'm sure. What happens when the world's largest battery manufacturer decides to replace the heavy labor of humans in these factories with humanoid robots powered by the very batteries they themselves produce? The Chinese giant KATL has started integrating the Galbot S1 robot into its production lines, thus taking automation to a new level. The robot was designed to carry heavy loads, move through complex industrial environments, and work continuously in critical operations. Its structure allows it to lift up to 50 kilograms, and it does this using both arms simultaneously, making it one of the strongest humanoids designed for industrial applications. Instead of relying on sensors installed by factories, it uses computer vision to map the environment in real time, to identify equipment, corridors, and also obstacles while performing its tasks. Its locomotion system also allows it to move in any direction, making quick maneuvers in spaces shared with people, autonomous vehicles, and production lines, thus maintaining continuous operation even in highly busy environments. All this capability requires an equally advanced power source. Drawing on decades of experience in battery development, CATL equipped the robot with a set of high-energy density cells, which can sustain approximately 8 hours of continuous work. The system uses optimized cathode materials to increase storage capacity, as well as nodes designed to reduce wear during fast charging and next-generation electrolytes that enhance chemical stability and extend the lifespan of the cells. When physical strength, artificial intelligence, and high-performance batteries begin to evolve together, the industry moves closer to a scenario where much of the heavy work can indeed be carried out continuously by machines designed to build the very future of manufacturing. And what if the next generation of jet engines that power the planet's most advanced defense drones no longer depended on traditional foundries, expensive molds, or months of manual machining? Well, the American company Behringer Industries, Behave Industries, has set up a mass production network capable of manufacturing more than 8,000 jet engines per year. The big difference in this strategy lies in 3D metal printing using selective laser melting. Layer by layer, laser beams fuse high-precision metal powder, allowing the manufacture of extremely complex components that would be virtually impossible using conventional methods. Internal cooling channels, optimized geometries, and turbine blades can be produced as a single piece, thus reducing hundreds of components, screws, and failure points. The projected capacity to produce more than 8,000 engines per year completely reshapes the industry. Behave Industries demonstrates that the future of aerospace engineering will be defined less by old foundries and much more by the speed of lasers, digital engines, and smart manufacturing. The era of jet engines produced on demand has already begun, my friends, and it promises to completely transform the way future aircraft will all be built. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a like and make sure you're subscribed, all right? There are 2 new suggestions on your screen, one here and one here. Just choose which one to click and I'll see you in the next one. I'll be waiting for you there, all right? Click there, thanks and bye, see you in a bit.